Have you ever noticed how the smallest mistake with a woman can flip the entire dynamic upside down? One wrong move, one careless word, and suddenly you've lost respect, attraction, and sometimes even yourself. The truth is, most men don't lose women because they're bad men. They lose them because they don't know what never to do. Welcome back to Behavior Insight. If you're new here, this channel is all about self-mastery, stoicism, and understanding human behavior. Today, we're breaking down 8 things men should never do with women. If you want to stand out as a man of value, pay close attention. 1. Seeking validation. There's a reason men lose respect fast when they constantly seek validation. Imagine this. You're with a woman, and you keep asking, "Do you like me? Did I say that right? Are you upset with me?" You think you're being thoughtful, but what she hears is insecurity. And nothing dries attraction quicker than insecurity. A man who keeps asking for approval is like a child pulling on his mother's sleeve. He's not showing strength, he's showing dependence. Here's the reality. Validation feels good for a second, but the second you need it from someone else, you give away your power. Women sense this. They can feel when a man doesn't have his own center. If she becomes your only mirror, she'll lose respect for you, because you've made her opinion more important than your own. Think about the last time you saw a man walk into a room. He didn't ask if people liked him. He didn't check if he fit in. He carried himself like he already belonged. That's what draws women. It's not arrogance, it's quiet assurance. You don't need to shout it, you don't even need to say it. It's the way you stand, the way you move, the way you're at ease in your own skin. A man who seeks validation constantly lives in fear of losing approval. That means he bends, he overcompensates, he gives up his frame to keep someone else happy. And here's the truth. You'll never be respected if you can't respect yourself first. Stoic philosophy teaches us, your value is not determined by others, but by the virtue of your own choices. So next time you're tempted to ask, "Do you still like me?" Stop. Instead, ask yourself, "Do I like me? Do I respect how I'm living?" When that answer is yes, you won't need her validation or anyone else's. 2. Over-explaining yourself. Here's a trap men fall into without even realizing it. Over-explaining. Let's say she asks you, "Why didn't you text me back last night?" Most men panic. They start pouring out excuses. "Well, I was working late, then my phone died, then I was tired, and I didn't want to bother you too late." You think you're making it better, but in her eyes, you're digging a hole. Over-explaining signals guilt. It shows that deep down you feel uncertain about your choices, and when a man feels uncertain, he loses presence. A woman doesn't want a man who scrambles to justify every move. She wants a man who owns his actions with calm clarity. Instead of rambling, imagine answering simply, "I was busy, but I'm here now." That's it. Short, grounded, no panic. You show her that your life is full, your choices are deliberate, and you don't feel guilty for living it. That's masculine calm. Think of it like this. When someone constantly explains themselves, it's like they're handing over their self-respect piece by piece, hoping the other person gives it back. But when you stay firm, you're telling her without words, "I know who I am, I know what I do, and I don't need to defend it." Women test men with silence, with questions, with challenges. If you over-explain, you fail the test. If you respond with calm assurance, you pass it. Stoicism teaches restraint. Say less, mean more. A lion doesn't need to explain why he didn't roar yesterday. His presence speaks for itself. 3. Being too available. Here's a hard pill to swallow. Being too available kills attraction. Men think, if I'm always here for her, she'll see how much I care. But what really happens? She stops valuing your presence, because when you're always available, You're no longer rare. Let's flip it. Think about something you wanted badly but couldn't get easily. A limited edition item, a rare experience, or even a person who didn't always say yes. That scarcity made it valuable. Now imagine something that's always there, always free, always waiting. Do you treasure it the same way? No, because we only value what has boundaries. Women feel the same with men. If you're the guy who drops everything at her call, who has no life outside of her, you're not showing love. You're showing lack of self-respect. And she feels it. She knows when you're orbiting around her instead of walking your own path. Mystery matters. Space matters. A woman wants to feel like she's entering your world, not like you're abandoning your world to live in hers. When you're busy chasing your goals, your passions, your mission, that's when your presence becomes valuable. Because you're not just sitting around waiting for her. You're living. And that makes her want to be part of it. Being too available makes her think, if he's always free for me, who else would want him? Why doesn't he have anything else going on? But when you protect your time, she sees you differently. He must be valuable. He must be wanted. He must be worth waiting for. So don't confuse loyalty with availability. Be loyal. Be consistent. But don't erase your own life. That balance is what keeps her respect alive. 4. Arguing emotionally. Men often try to win arguments with logic, but when emotions rise, logic gets drowned out. Women argue with feelings, and if you jump in with your emotions too, it's not a debate anymore. It's chaos. Picture this. She's upset, maybe about something small, maybe something big. Her emotions are high. You feel cornered, so you raise your voice, defend yourself, fight back. Suddenly it's not about the issue anymore. It's about who yells louder, who wins the emotional battle. Nobody really wins. Respect dies. A stoic man handles this differently. He doesn't avoid emotions, but he doesn't drown in them either. He sets boundaries. He stays calm. If the argument becomes a storm, he knows when to step back, when to say, I hear you, let's talk later. That's not weakness. It's mastery. When you argue emotionally, you hand her the frame. Because the more you react, the more you show you can be controlled. And women don't respect men they can control emotionally. They may test you with tears, anger, silence, but the real test is whether you can keep your center. The philosopher Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. That's your job in conflict. To master yourself. Not her, not the fight. Yourself. If you keep your composure, you lead. If you lose it, you follow her storm. So next time you're pulled into an emotional argument, don't try to win. Winning isn't about being right. It's about staying grounded. She may not like it in the moment, but she will respect it in the long run. And respect always outlasts rage. 5. Failing her tests. Every man faces it. Some know it, some don't. Women test men. Sometimes it's intentional, sometimes it's instinct. But make no mistake, the tests are real, and they're not always about what you think. It's not about her trying to make you miserable. It's about her trying to see if you're stable, if you're grounded, if you're the kind of man she can truly respect. A test can be simple. She says, "You're not that funny." Most men panic. They reply with, "Really? Why do you think that? I was just joking." That's failing the test. Why? Because you showed you care too much about her approval. You bent to her words instead of standing on your own. Now picture another man in the same moment. She says, "You're not that funny." He smiles and says, "You haven't seen my best material yet." Calm, playful, unbothered. That's passing the test. He didn't get emotional. He didn't beg for validation. He stayed grounded. Here's the truth. Women want to know if you're strong enough to hold your frame. Life will test both of you. Money problems, family issues, disappointments. If you crumble at her little tests, how will you handle the real storms? Failing her tests always comes down to one thing: reacting emotionally. Passing them comes down to another: responding with calm strength. A man who knows his value doesn't get shaken when teased, ignored, or challenged. He's not arrogant, he's centered. Remember, women test to feel safe. They don't want a man who collapses under pressure. They want a man who's steady enough that she can lean on him. So next time you feel tested, don't whine, don't explain, don't get defensive. Smile, hold your ground, and let her see the strength of a man who can't be moved so easily. That's Stoicism in action. 6. Apologizing. Too much apologies are powerful, but only when they're real. A man who apologizes sincerely when he's wrong shows character, but a man who apologizes for everything shows weakness. And weakness, my friend, kills attraction. Think of this. You text her, "Hey, how are you?" Then you add, "Sorry if I bothered you." Or you show up a minute late and say, sorry, I know I'm the worst." It sounds harmless, but what you're really saying is, "I don't believe I have the right to exist in your space without asking for permission." A man who apologizes constantly becomes invisible. His words lose weight. Women respect men who stand firm, who say sorry when it matters. Not for breathing, not for sending a message, not for being themselves. There's another problem. Over-apologizing creates imbalance. The more you put yourself in the wrong, the more she feels she's in the right. You place yourself beneath her, and soon she begins to treat you that way. Respect fades, attraction dies, and you're left wondering what went wrong. Here's the alternative. If you're late, say, "Thanks for waiting." If you text, just text. No apology needed. Save your sorry for when it's deserved. That way, when you do apologize, she knows it's real. Women don't want perfect men. They want men who are real, men who own their mistakes, but don't drown in guilt for small things. Excessive apologizing isn't humility, it's insecurity. And insecurity isn't attractive. So stop saying sorry every 2 minutes. Carry yourself like you belong, because you do. 7. Putting her on a pedestal. A lot of men ruin relationships because they put women so high above them that they lose all balance. It starts with good intentions. You meet a woman, you're amazed by her, you admire her beauty, her charm, her energy, and instead of treating her like a human being, you crown her queen of your world. But here's the catch. When you put her on a pedestal, you automatically place yourself below it. You tell her, "You're better than me. I'm lucky you even look my way." And while it sounds romantic, it actually destroys attraction. Respect is built on equality. When you put her above, she starts looking down. Think about it. Would you respect someone who worships you like a god, who acts like you can do no wrong? At first, maybe it feels flattering, but soon it feels suffocating. You start thinking, if he sees me this perfect, does he even know me? Women want to be seen, not worshipped. Admired, yes. Idolized, no. Instead of saying, "You're the most amazing woman in the world," try saying, "I love your energy, it's refreshing." That's a compliment rooted in truth, not worship. You're appreciating her, not bowing to her. Putting her on a pedestal also makes you blind to her flaws, and every human has flaws. When reality shows up, and it always does, you crash. Then resentment builds, because you realize she wasn't the goddess you imagined. Stoicism teaches balance. Treat her with respect. Admire her qualities, but remember, she's just as human as you. Don't raise her so high that you lose sight of yourself. She doesn't want to be above you. She wants to walk beside you. 8. Making her your entire life. This is the deadliest mistake. When a man makes a woman the center of his life, he loses everything that made him attractive in the first place. She didn't notice you because you were empty. She noticed you because you had drive, focus, passion. But the second you abandon all of that and orbit around her, she feels the shift, and attraction starts to fade. At first it seems sweet. You cancel plans with friends, you skip the gym, you drop hobbies, you make her your world. But over time, it suffocates her. She doesn't want to be your oxygen. She wants to breathe with you. A man without purpose becomes dependent, and dependence kills desire. Women don't want to be your mission. They want to join you on it. If you have no mission, no passion, no goals, she becomes bored. She feels the pressure of carrying your happiness, and that's not a burden anyone wants. Stoic men know their purpose comes first. Whether it's your work, your craft, your growth, it must remain intact. A woman should add to your life, not replace it. You can love her deeply, but never abandon yourself in the process. The irony. When you stop making her your entire life, she desires you more. Because she sees you're not dependent. You're a man with a path. A man she has to walk alongside, not one she has to carry. So never lose yourself in a woman. Love her, respect her, cherish her, but keep your mission alive. Because without it, you lose her, and worse, you lose yourself. Every one of these mistakes, seeking validation, over-explaining, being too available, arguing emotionally, failing her tests, apologizing too much, putting her on a pedestal and making her your whole life, comes down to one thing: forgetting your own value. Stoicism reveals the truth. Control yourself, respect yourself, and carry yourself like a man who already belongs. Women will respect you, not because you chase it, but because you embody it.